Okay, these are the video corrections for the trigonometry test. Number one, they gave you some information here. This was 19 degrees. They told you this side was 11 and this side is x, and here's the right angle. So the first thing, if you want to figure out what x is, you don't have enough information to do Pythagorean theorem, but I can do trig. So there's hypo, that's opposite the 90. Opposite the 19 is the opposite, and this is the adjacent, which is right beside touching the 19. Okay, so now let's think about what we got here. I got 19 degrees, and I'm trying to find x, which is the opposite, and I happen to know the adjacent. So that means I'm going to use tangent. How do I know? Because remember, so, ka, toa. So this is tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay? So I'm using tangent, and it's the opposite divided by, so x over 11. So I put that in there, and I cross multiply. 1 times x is x. 11 times tan 19 is what I need to figure out. So I get my calculator out. First thing I do is put it in mode. I turn it on. I do mode and make sure I'm in degree mode, and turn it into degree mode. And then I'm going to type it in. 11 tangent 19 degrees, and that gives me x is 3.79 approximately, which I think the answer has 3.8. So that's my answer. Okay, number 2. Okay, I have a similar triangle. Okay, the triangle looks something like that. And again, you're supposed to find x. So I'm going to label it, this is the hypo across from the 90. This is opposite the 35 degree angle. And this is adjacent to 35. Okay, and I want to get x. So is it so, ka, or toa? Well, I have opposite and I have adjacent. So it looks like it's toa again. So I'm going to write tangent of 35 degrees equals the opposite, which is 4 over x. If I put this over 1 and cross multiply, I get 1 times 4 is 4, and I get x times tan 35 degrees. So I'm going to divide by tan 35 degrees to both sides. These cancel out, and you get x equals, and I'm just going to type this in the calculator. So 4 divided by tan 35. And remember, make sure you're on degree mode. And you get 5.71. And that there was an answer of 5.7, so we'll choose that one there. Okay, the next problem is number 3. I'll just switch screens here. Okay, so there's the triangle there. And again, they want you to find x and y this time. So I'm going to label, this would be the hypo. This would be opposite the 57 degrees, because we're using the 57 here. And then there's the adjacent, which is x. Okay, so let's do some trig here. And if I need x, I'm going to need adjacent and hypo. So that looks like ka. Well, how do I know that? Well, so that's opposite over hypotenuse. That's not what I need. Ka, adjacent over hypotenuse. Cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. And toa, opposite over adjacent. Well, I got the adjacent but not the opposite, so I can't use toa. So I'm going to use cosine. Cosine 57 degrees equals the adjacent over 32. Put it over 1 and cross multiply. 1 times x is x. 32 times cosine 57 degrees. X equals, and we'll just type that in the calculator here. 32 times cosine 57 degrees. As always, that's in degrees. Make sure you have the mode in degrees. And you'll get 17.43. That's for x. Now they also want y. So let's look at it again. If I want y, then I need opposite over hypo, and opposite over hypo is so it must be sine. So sine of 57 equals 57 degrees equals y over 32. So if I cross multiply, y equals, well, 32 times sine 57. And that gives me, when I type that in the calculator, 32 sine 57. And that gives me 28.84. Okay, which answer has a y of 17 and a y of 20, basically 29, and a x of 17. X of 17 okay, so I think I found one. I just noticed that I wrote this wrong. It's supposed to be 26.84. The calculator told me right, I just read it wrong. But that is an answer choice, so we're in good shape. So I think they have 26.8 for y and 17.4 for x.